Let's do a fancy introduction, and I'll tell you a little bit. I'll tell you a little bit about you because I know about you, but other people don't know about you. So,
Okay.
this is my good buddy Matt. Matt, for a very long time, ran a successful martial arts academy. I think you peaked at what, just around 400 students,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
And you had guys fighting in more like kind of MMA stuff. So you had a lot of kickboxing guys, but you also had like guys fighting in Cage Warriors.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, Cage Rage. That was the one in
Cage
London that was
Rage,
all the
Cage
times.
Warriors. Yeah. Both of those. Yeah.
UFC as well, bunch of other things. And then he went totally rogue and decided to sell his school to his business partner and go more into the kind of consulting things. But he has a ton of experience in the online world as well, which is why I wanted to get him in. And I've known Matt for, I was thinking about this earlier, uh, 22 years, I think. I think
Is
about
it?
22 years, which is honestly a bit too long.
Cheers, dude.
But yeah, so what I wanted to get you to discuss, Matt, like one of the biggest questions that I get from people is about like marketing. What should I be doing? And a lot of like very technical things, but I want to look at it more of like an overarching approach because I feel people get bogged down in like, how much should I spend on a campaign? What should my copy be like? Rather than like, it's really not just down to one thing. It's not just down to Facebook ads. It's not just down to having a Google ad that's working. It's like the whole infrastructure that you build.
Yeah.
You have free and you have paid. You have all of that kind of stuff that has to link together to really be really successful, in my opinion.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I've been helping martial arts instructors for about 10 years with their marketing and their business, because that's often the weakest part of martial art instructors' skill set. They're good, they're great at teaching, and they really care for their students, but their marketing and sales skills need a bit of development. So that's my passion. I really love marketing and sales. Obviously ran a full-time school for 20 years myself, and as you said, had about 400 members at its peak, which was for quite a long time. If you're running a business and you're making money either to to live off, you need to focus on marketing. There's really only two parts of any sort of business. There's marketing and retention of your customers or your students. That's it. If you get those two things right, you get your marketing right and you get your leads and you convert your leads cost effectively, and then you retain the customers or the students you get within your school grows. That's really the focus. And most people are quite good at retaining members, teaching great classes, giving them progression, taking them through grades. That's not a problem. It's usually the other side of the equation that's weak with most instructors, which is how to market their school. As you mentioned, there's no one golden thing that you can do that will suddenly get you an extra 100 members. It's usually a combination of doing several things well at the same time, what I like to call a marketing matrix. So a marketing matrix is a combination of physical, digital, and social marketing that is free and or paid. So it's that mix and matrix of different marketing tactics that tends to work best. For most martial arts schools in the current environment, the things that work best are dominating Google, which means showing up in several places on the first page of Google for your key search terms. That someone's typing in martial arts in your town, BJJ in your town, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu classes in your town, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu kids classes in your town, showing up for those key search terms, but not just showing up once, because there's 10 organic listings on the first page of Google usually. And if you just show up once, you've got a 1 in 10 or less chance of actually someone clicking on your link. You want to show up in multiple places on the first page of Google, ideally in the free pack at the top, the first free, because they get fair 20 to 30% of all the clicks on the page, which I think is a bit low if you think about it, because the top free on Google tend to get only about 20 to 30% of the clicks. So people are clicking elsewhere on that first page. So it's good to be in the top three, but really also you need to show up in multiple places. When I was running my school, we got to the point where we dominated the first 8 on the first page of Google with 2 other competitors ranking as well. Now that massively increases our chances, 80% chance of someone clicking on that first page and finding one of our martial arts websites, one of our martial arts schools, and getting in touch. So at the point where I sold my school, we didn't need to do any paid advertising because we were generating so many leads from Google searches The second thing that we had was really working well was like a really good referral program. So we were generating lots of internal referrals, encouraging that within the members to share stories about the school, to share special offers and promotions and get new people in from that. And then we did a fair bit of social media marketing, but not paid ads. And that was like literally for the last year or so that I was running the school. We literally had zero budget because we nailed Google domination. We'd got referrals happening and we were doing quite good in local social media marketing. For most schools, I would say that is key as well, like dominating Google. So you find all of those leads that are hot leads, because someone who's gone to Google, typed in BJJ classes in my town is a hot lead. They're ready to take action. They're ready to start training. They're ready to commit straight away. Someone who's on Facebook scrolling through watching cat videos and stuff, they see your BJJ advert, they're like, oh, that looks interesting, I'll get in touch to find out more. They're not the same level of warmth. They're kind of what you call cold audience. They found out about you, but they don't really understand what it involves, what they need to do, what's the next steps. So dominating Google will be number one. That should be a priority more than anything else, which is technical, but just a series of things that you need to do on and off your website.
Yeah, that's kind of one of those things that is like a 6-month process, which is painful, but then you kind of never really have to touch it again too much afterwards. But it is like mind-numbingly dull when you do it. Like that's the big thing. So it's very time consuming, but I feel like it has one of the biggest kind of bangs for your buck. Because the Facebook ad, as soon as you stop running that ad, it's done. You know, you're not going to get any more people from it. The SEO side of things, that dominating Google, lasts for basically ever. You know,
it can do.
Yes.
And also depends on your location, because if you've got not much competition online, let's say you're the only BJJ school in a town, your website will rank within a few days if you set it up right, because it's the only choice that Google can give, because you're the only one. However, let's say you're in London and you've got 500 BJJ schools around you, then it's about ranking for local search terms, like the area of your London that you're in and certain key things and longer tail keywords. But dominating Google is always the best bang for your buck, because once it's like I call a walk away thing. You do it once, you can walk away from it and it still works for months or years later and just keeps ticking over.
Yeah, I know we're mentioning Google a lot. Obviously, it's the biggest search engine, but the same things apply to like Yahoo, to Bing, to any of the other search things. If you set it up correctly within Google, it's going to transfer across. Obviously not as big, but people still use them. So it's really important that we get that correct from the beginning.
Yes, and what you need to do is the Apple, make sure you're doing the same for Apple search as well, so that you're showing up on there, because lots of people use that rather than Google. So number one is like referrals. I'm sorry, Google domination. Second thing is referrals. So you want to do a really good job of building excitement within your school and encouraging your members to share their stories with their friends, their family. And you can do that lots of different ways. You can do that, rewarding them for referrals. If people join, you can do that more organically. But you just need to encourage this within the business, and that will lead to a certain number of leads coming in per month. And then just marketing socially in your local area so that you show up when people go onto Facebook and say, does anyone know a good martial arts school near me? You want lots of people jumping in and saying, hey, check out this school, it's amazing because of X, Y, and Z. And you do that through local social media marketing.
Yeah. I think the touching on the referral thing, it's kind of, it's something that I know from my previous experience in more like a traditional environment, but it's not as common in jiu-jitsu. So often you see things people will do. What was your best referral campaign that you did? Did you have?
Yeah, I did lots, but the best one I ever found was if you refer a friend and they join, you get 25 quid and a hug. And the weird thing is, people wanted the hug first and then the 25 quid afterwards. I've done all sorts. I've done referral campaigns for like dojo dollars, what they call, like you can get discounts on equipment. I've done referral campaigns where it's like win an iPad if you refer so many people. But the best one ever was like 25 quid and a hug.
I think the hug's probably the most important part about that, in all honesty.
Weird, people wanted the hug. Yeah,
it's like a little bit of a social proof, right? But in my experience, it was the same thing. Like having an actual physical kind of cash thing that you can present to someone is way more powerful than anything else. Like we did things like what was it, the Wii, when the Wii first came out and it was like super hot, we did like You know, if you refer anybody, they join, you can, you know, get into a raffle for those things worked okay, but it's not really the same.
No,
They're nowhere near as powerful as just like, even if we've done in the past like a 3 month of training isn't as
yes.
powerful as having like 25 in your hand, quid in your hand right then and there. It makes a
Exactly.
big difference.
Amazon vouchers work well as well,
Yeah.
especially for kids. If they refer their friends, and maybe you do a referral competition where the person who refers the most members to a trial in this month is going to win first prizes and £20 Amazon vouchers. Kids go crazy for things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the kids really don't have a lot in all honesty, like they don't have disposable income like adults do in the same
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah. So
But
getting
yeah,
a
like,
voucher.
those things
Yeah,
are great. And I think it's important to make it just part of your kind of like culture that people get referred. Like
yeah,
end of any class, you could be like, if you know anybody who's interested in training, maybe they're looking at losing weight or getting fit, or they just have a general interest. Here's a VIP card or whatever you want to call it. Like here's a flyer
yeah.
that you can give to them. Here's a whatever it is that you hand out to the people to try and get that like next step.
Yeah,
And
the
if you
reason why it doesn't happen in most schools is most instructors don't push it enough. So they assume that referrals are going to happen
yeah.
organically if they teach a good class. And they do. Some people are more chatty and will tell other people, but most people need a bit of motivation and reminding. They need a few carrots dangled to
Yeah.
take the next step. But if you get better at prompting your students to ask for referrals, then you generate more referrals. And a referred lead joins easier, asks less questions, doesn't haggle or negotiate, knows exactly what they're getting, stays longer, and tends to also refer other members.
Yeah, I mean they're like fantastic. Touching on the social proof thing that you talked about, we started doing this thing where we're recording like little testimonials for our students. And then so we do like a little interview with them about specific experiences they've had. So we've done a lady who came back from being pregnant and then, started competing again within 4 months. We've done people who've lost weight, all kinds of different areas. Those get shared around massively by them because it's that social proof idea. They want to like, the congratulations of doing such a good job of being part of it. And everybody comments on the posts and it really builds traction.
Yeah.
And that's a great environment for people to be in, want to do those kind of things, So that's a little tip that we found works really, really well.
Yeah.
Continue, Matt. Sorry, my fault for interrupting.
The thing with marketing is no one believes what you say.
Yeah.
So you can say, hey, I'm going to a great school. It's really fun and people love it and you'll stay forever. But they do believe what other people say about your school. So social proof videos, testimonials, reviews, things like that really matter in modern marketing. Because let's say Amazon, you're going to buy a new TV on Amazon. You see the TV, 57-inch, you're like, nice. First thing you do, scroll down, read the reviews, and then look at the reviews. Oh, it's got good reviews. Then you buy it. You don't even maybe look at the specs so much. You're like, what's it look like? Is it going to serve purpose? Let's read the reviews. And that's how more and more people are going. So you need a large bank of reviews, a large, video testimonials on your website and then your social media. You need Trustpilot reviews. All of these things really help.
Yeah. Yeah, they're massive because I do the same thing. Like I go on Amazon, I find something, look at the reviews, and then I just take the product, throw it into Google and like reviews part after it. Same with YouTube as well. People often forget that YouTube is a massive search engine. It's a lot of the time for more kind of technical based stuff. They want videos of like how-to videos, for example, but that ranks within Google itself, So if you put up videos about like, starting at your school, about your school's location, that's going to help and transfer over to the main algorithm anyway, and just promote your school a little bit better,
Exactly.
So that's a really important thing. So what are your top, I don't know, 3 tips for, dominating Google?
Yeah. So there's 2 types of Google domination. There's on page and off page. On page means what you've done on your website to make it easier for Google to search. So basically setting up your website correctly so it's got like the key search terms in the title tags within the description, using things like alt text to make sure that your pictures don't say 476 rather, your martial arts school's name, kids classes as the picture name. So kind of doing the keyword SEO part of it is key. The second thing I would say is like usability. Like Google's massive on someone comes to your website, they should have a good experience. If they come to your website and it's confusing, it's cluttered, it's busy, it doesn't make sense, links don't work, things don't operate how people expect, that's called a bad user experience. And then they jump off your website. Google takes that as a negative and then drops you down the rankings. So you want to make your website clean, simple, easy to use, everything clear, like a nice flow through the website. So that's called usability. So like SEO first, make sure it's set up right, usability. And the third thing is backlinks from other websites, because backlinks are less important than they used to be, but still important. Basically, they're a link from another website back to your website saying that this website's important. You get enough backlinks, it's indications from Google that this website matters, and it's really easy to get backlinks. It's a simple process you can do for that. When you get all of those things happening, gradually over time, your website starts to move up. I've managed to get websites ranked in like 72 hours from not existing to first page of Google. But it all depends on your competition and all of that in the local area. But as long as you're moving up, you'll get up there, and then you generate more clicks and more leads.
Yeah, I'm going to give you guys one of my most important ones that I learned as well, which is your address, phone number, and website should all be identical, and name should be identical all the way through every piece of social media. Because anytime that you have, like, let's say you have unit 25, which is my address, comma, Dry Drayton, or unit 25, Dry Drayton without the comma, or anything else that goes in there, it's viewed as a different business essentially, and you don't get Google essentially gets confused and can't find you as easily. Yeah. So you have to have that consistently. So however you decide to set up, entirely up to you, but it's always the same, literally down to like whether you have a space in your phone number or whether you don't have a space in your phone number, whether you use the 44 code or whatever, it has to be the same. And
even as much as like road versus RD, like crazy. You just want to keep it consistent.
Yeah, it's really, really crucial and can have a big difference. So let's talk a little bit about the other side of things. So that's kind of your free, time-consuming side of stuff, but really important. Paid-wise.
Yes.
Let's go into that.
So paid advertising is like the ability to turn on a tap to get leads. So your organic stuff, your referrals, your social media posting organically, your Google domination means over a period of time it's going to generate leads, but you can't guarantee when. It's not like you can guarantee next week by doing the edits on your website that you can generate more leads. With paid ads, Google or Facebook ads or Instagram ads, it's literally like you run an ad, you start the tap, and you start getting leads pretty much immediately, which is great. The issue is they're not as warm as someone who's searched or is referred. So therefore, you have to do more warming up of the leads, and usually following up requires more follow-up. For example, if I get a lead from my website and I call them up, usually I can get hold of them within 1 or 2 contacts, and then get them into a trial and take them from there. From Facebook ads, we're finding it 6 to 8 contacts sometimes on average to get the person in for a trial. So sometimes you get the person first time they book in for a trial, but after lots of experimentation, it's usually like you need to call them, text them, call them, text them, call them, text them, email. Finally, you manage to get them booked in. It's so it requires a bit more organization in the back end, but it is. I've got people who've been running Facebook ads. They've had a Facebook ad that's got them 200 leads within like a couple of months, which is insane. But the follow-up, you need more follow-ups. You need a structure for dealing with the follow-up. So it's like the difference between it raining, where you don't know when it's going to rain for your organic stuff, versus turning on a tap and it's just leads are pouring out. That's not to say that you're going to nail it straight away. There's practice to be done with Facebook ads and Instagram ads and Google ads. You need to learn how to run them effectively and learn how to like manage the results so that you know what's working. The big mistake instructors make is they think, if I spend more, I'll get more leads. That doesn't work. It's logical. You think, I'm not getting enough leads, so I'll spend more on Facebook ads, I'll get more leads. But that only works if your Facebook ad is working. If your Facebook ad is broken, spending more means Facebook makes more money and you don't get any more leads. So I had a client, he was spending about £5 a day. He thought, my ads aren't working. So then he upped his budget to £25 a day and his ads still weren't working. And I'm like, it doesn't work like that. You need to fix your ad. Yeah. So there is a system for creating an ad that's going to work. And then there's a system for monitoring the results so that you work out whether to scale an ad or kill an ad. And you usually can do that within 3 to 5 days if you know what you're looking for.
Yeah. I think that's a great kind of point. Like the way that we use social media, like adverts, we don't do that many because we don't need to, because we have a strong Google presence, very good referral place and post. But what we do is when we have space in our classes, then we turn that tap on. And it might only be for like a day or 2 days until we get like 4 or 5 leads, and then we shut it off again. But we're getting that consistent backflow, in the background of like, people who are inquiring about our classes. And it's pretty consistent. And that's, to me, is the biggest value of having those two things running in parallel.
Yes.
And to touch on
generating local awareness, aren't you?
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, exactly. And then to touch on that as well, like the back end stuff that Matt's talking about, setting that up is going to help your organic marketing anyway. Like having that in place is just going to make it more likely that people turn up to your classes, even if they're super hot. You can have everything in place that it's a smooth process to get them there as well. So really important. I think that's a good kind of general overview, Matt, without getting too deep into it. And I honestly think that talking specifically about what's working in Facebook right now, almost pointless, because it won't be working in a couple of weeks' time. They're continually changing the algorithm, they're continually updating it. Even in the last day, Swap, right? Yeah. I'm seeing things on my campaigns that Swap's not seeing on his at the moment, like some weird testing things that they're doing.
Yes.
Go into the nitty gritty of like, this is the campaign you should choose. Almost pointless. It's better to look at a bit of a higher level thing.
Yes.
Like, this is what works. This is what you should be doing.
Yes. It's all about like the end. It's about your media that you create, the market, and finding your target market, the message that compels people to take action. That applies across all marketing, whether it's physical, digital, social, or anything. Just getting, the right media to the right market in the right way with the right message is what works in advertising in general. Yeah,
absolutely. So I got a couple of questions from people. Rich is asking about the best way to advertise his academy, whether it's social media, newspaper, flyers, or any other forms of advertising. I feel like we've touched on that quite a lot. The only thing that we haven't discussed is print media.
I mean, if you do press releases, that's free print media. So contacting your local sports editor and getting in the local paper because of competition results, grading people, things, successes that have happened within your school, that all works and it's free. And sometimes you can build up quite a good relationship with the local press and get lots of opportunities to speak to people about things. So that is worth pursuing. The biggest bang for your buck will be ranking on Google. The next biggest bang for your buck is a great referral system that just continue generates leads and referrals. The next one is like social media, whether it's paid or free, but getting known on social media and getting known locally as the best choice for your particular style of martial arts. So focus on those three.
Yeah, I mean, I had a great relationship. The thing to understand about newspapers is they're actually looking for stories, particularly local newspapers. Like you feel like you don't have anything going on, but at the same time, every day or sometimes every day or every week, they have to produce a newspaper. They need that content to fill it. So rather than thinking about it as I don't have anything going on, it's like, well, all of these things have happened to me. Maybe they'll be interested in it. And if you can, like Matt said, develop that relationship, it can be huge. Like I had a great relationship with a guy in Plymouth, and anytime that I won a competition, I could get into the paper pretty much. Anytime that we had an event going on at the gym, I could get into the paper because over like the space of probably 5 or 6 years, I developed that relationship and just kept going to him. Look, we got this going on. You're interested in it? Here's a press release that I've done for you. If you need some more information, boom, and you go from there.
Yeah, I had a client who started with local press, then kind of got picked up by national press, then got interviewed by like the BBC. So they're moving up the chain, and then they can obviously put as featured in the Times, as featured on BBC, so which adds credibility on their website. And then they can get backlinks from these publications, which really boosts their SEO. So it is worth doing that side of things.
Yeah, and to me, it's just like SEO. It's exactly the same. It's time consuming. It's not going to be something that's going to happen straight away, but it can be very important. You need those. We haven't really talked about, but you've got to have multiple streams of marketing going all the time. Like if for whatever reason, I don't know if it's happened to you, but it's happened to me. You can't advertise on Facebook for some reason. They boot you out, or the same with Google. They decide that whatever it is, you've got to have. You've got to have something in place that supports that all the time.
Physical, digital, social. You'd always be physically marketing your school, digitally marketing your school, and socially marketing your school.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Instead, there's another question from Sam. Sam was asking about like what are the target audience in terms of ads and then the budget that you use.
Hmm. So it's your members. So poll your members if you've got members. Like who is in your school? Are they mainly a kids program that you're running and it's parents of kids aged a certain age? Is it mainly older adults you're getting, or is it across the board? Whenever you market, though, market to one audience at a time. Don't run an ad that says, hey, check out my school, we do everything, because it appeals to no one. Run a ladies only ad. Run a ad to kids, parents of kids aged 7 to 9. Run an ad to the professional adult over 40 years old, specifically speaking to their pains and problems. That's how you generate leads, not just a general blanket market to your entire school. But it's whoever's in your school, and also whichever programs are in your school that need growth. Let's say kids programs stacked, but you're missing out on adults, then you spend on adult ads. So it's kind of just who do you want in your school, and then who's currently there, and working it out from there.
Yeah, and then you, in terms of budget, you kind of gradually scale those things. You can start pretty low with a
You
a
got a
lot of
test
ads
budget.
going. Yeah, and then you find one that starts working, you build it up. But on the back end of that as well, you're always trying to beat that control. Whatever that thing is, you look at like, okay, I'm going to run another ad with just a slightly different change in a headline or a slightly different word that I'm going to use. I know when I was doing a lot of Google ads, I found that I can't remember what, there was one word, I changed it and it got a 50% bump in the conversion, which was like huge. And it was literally, I just changed one word, had a dramatic difference. So that then became my control, and I continually tried to beat that.
Exactly.
Touching on what you're talking about as well, is the reason that we started doing these testimonials, we actually started interviewing our students, because you start finding out why students are actually in your academy. Martial arts are always like, well, people do it for fitness, or people do it for weight loss or self-defense. And that's kind of like a big reason, but it's not really why they stay training, and it's not necessarily why they keep coming back to you.
No, it's community, friendship, self-improvement, family.
Exactly. And it can really change like the perspective about how you view your school, and the media that you put out there as well, which is really important. If everybody's like advertising fitness, and you're like, hey, look, we're really strongly community based. We have this amazing group of people who are, for sure you're going to get help like developing your fitness, but on the back end of that, you're going to be part of something really strong, and they're going to support you through that process. That can make the difference in your ad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
very true.
Steve, big Steve, he's asked, what is the best ways to generate leads and initial buzz for a new place?
Facebook.
Yes,
because it'll take too long to rank a website for your new place, and I know where his new place is, so it'll be Facebook with like a wait list, almost like we're opening this brand new shiny martial arts facility. It's going to be amazing. We're going to do very special offers, and the first 30 people who become a founder member are going to get a ridiculous deal. Enter your details here to find out more. You want to build up a large audience of a couple of thousand people on a wait list, and then market to that audience when you open with offers that expire.
Yeah, that's a great way to go. And that people love that kind of new, like anytime that you have like a new class or a new gym or anything, that can be really, really, really powerful. And then in the meantime, what you might want to consider doing, Steve, is that list of people that you've got the emails for, is sending them testimonials, like sending them videos that support your message that you're trying to put out there. That's kind of like the convincing part of like, you're promoting your academy as the choice. So when they come to join, it's easy peasy. It's like an extra layer of marketing that you kind of want to add on there.
Indeed.
Yeah, that one's fancy. Let me see if there's anything else. Price is something that we always like hear about, like advertising price. How quickly do you reveal the price? Do you like putting prices on websites? Someone asks you the price, what do you do? Go, Matt.
That's your personal choice. You could test it. So you could put the price on your website for 3 months, see how many leads you get, see how many you convert. Is it easy to convert them? Then go, cool. And then take the price off the website for 3 months, see how many leads you get, see how many convert, make a decision. There's no one answer that's right. You just have to test with price, without price. There's advantages to both. With price, they know exactly how much it's going to cost, so they can budget for it. They come to the school for the trial knowing how much it costs, means they can afford it. without price. They get to come to the school, experience the martial arts before they make a decision based on price. So I would run a 3-month test of each.
Yeah, I think really applies to all marketing in all honesty. Like everybody gets bogged down. I want to find this one thing and then I want to set it and forget it and leave it. That's not quite real. Like everything is testing all of the time. Is this working? Is this improving or is it getting worse? And then kind of keep it going from there.
Exactly.
Okay, let me quickly check Facebooky Matt and see if there's anybody else. People are asking about bespoke websites.
Yes. What's the question?
So balance between investing in social media accounts or a bespoke website, which would take priority?
Website. But it doesn't necessarily have to be major bespoke because you're just generating a lead website. So a lead generation website is simple. It's only got 5, maybe 6 pages. If you're building a website with all the bells and whistles, a back end and a instructor training portal or syllabus in the back end, that's different. But if you're just generating a lead generating website, you don't need to spend a lot of money on it. And it needs to be relatively simple because it's all it is about is explaining the benefits of martial arts, explaining why your business is different than your competition, and then capturing the lead. Yeah, that is a very simple website.
Yeah, and there's so many different platforms that you can do that on really, really quickly. It doesn't need to be super fancy. It's kind of a big mistake I see from people. They always talk about like their academy and how amazing it is. Then they forget that people are not looking for how amazing your academy is. It's how amazingly your academy can help you. Yes. That's what they want. And so the information needs to be tailored towards that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Target audience. Someone's tips on setting up a target audience in Instagram. Any tips, Matt?
Yeah, there's loads. I think we probably need to do some training on this because like half an hour is not enough to cover the depth of knowledge that your guys are asking.
So I totally agree. Like there's no way I actually put this up. There's no way that we can cover all of marketing in that. And we can't, again, some of this stuff's going to be quite specific. We're going to need creating custom audiences. How do you build those? How do you make sure they're the right kind of people? They're quite in-depth side of things.
Yeah.
I would personally focus on the things that Matt's saying first, like SEO. Everybody I know it's great to get leads in quickly and all of that kind of stuff. But if you spend 6 months working your SEO, getting it up to a killer level, and then you have like a website that's able to perform and generate you leads consistently, that's such good bang for your buck. And then when you add the next layer of ads on top of that as well, it's going to be so much easier because everything else in the background is going to be working. Anybody that then visits your website is going to help in your rankings because you're getting more website views. Everything else is going to go from that. So yeah, I would look at that one being the big thing that everybody goes to start with.
Yeah. Let's maybe set up a more complete training where we can go through the different aspects of social media marketing, website marketing, referral marketing, so that we can go in depth on this because we can't. I
thoroughly agree, Matt. We've spent a long time learning this stuff.
We can set that up.
We can sort that out. Yeah, I'll talk to you after we're done on this, and we can have a quick chat about that. But cool. Hopefully, you guys found this useful, and we'll like I said, I'll talk to Matt and we'll set something up, and we can work with you guys.